Welcome back, everyone. If you can start putting on your headphones, please. My name is Natalia Krasta, and I'm the room host for today. Just a couple of notes before we proceed with the session. Please, if you haven't yet, please download our AWS Summit app. Please silence your mobile phones to ensure an uninterrupted experience for everyone. Your headsets have volume button if you would like to adjust the settings, and please leave them in the room before you exit the room. And if you have any issues, just raise your hand and we'll get someone to assist you. So let's start from something that I called experience meter. If you're able to, can you please show with your fingers on a scale from 1 to 5, how many cloud migration projects have you been involved with? Put it up, put it up. Keep holding, and now look around and find someone with a number larger than yours. And that's exactly who you need to network in your next breakout session. And if we're about to start our session now, if you want to learn how you can leverage AWS Transform to accelerate VMware cloud migrations, this next Level 200 session is for you. Please welcome Sheng Cheng and Shinai Sweeney to the stage.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Are you feeling constrained by your VMware license cost? Are you looking forward for a different path? Look no further. Today, we're going to demonstrate you with my colleague Sheng and I, how can you accelerate your migration to AWS. I'm Shinai Sweeney. I'm one of the VMware specialist SAs at AWS, based in Sydney. I'm here joined by my colleague Sheng. He will be bringing valuable insights to this session today. Today, firstly, we're going to go through some of the migration challenges you may be facing and how agentic capabilities of AWS Transform will help you. Followed by, Sheng will do a demo walkthrough and highlight the key features and how it can accelerate your migration. Let's dive in. Transformation for our customers has been a journey. Usually our customers start the transformation by lifting and shifting their on-premises workloads to the cloud, mainly EC2, and I'm looking for options to modernize them, such as moving to containers, serverless, or managed databases. Along the way, there's some challenges comes. And with these challenges, customers see the complexity of some of those workloads transformation into the cloud, like of their legacy workloads, moving to the cloud. It is complex. It requires planning, multi-phases of organization. And it could take months and requires a lot of manual effort. Additionally, our customer needs to skill up in programming languages, in migration tools, and understand the AWS architecture. This could slow down their progress, even stall some of the innovation progress they're making. Here comes the AWS Transform for VMware migration capabilities. What is AWS Transform? It is the first ever generative AI-powered assistant capabilities for transforming your VMware workloads. It has goal-driven, autonomous, long-running agents for your accelerated migration. There are 4 key agents we're going to talk about today, and Sheng will gonna stop by each of them and give you in more details. First one is the discovery and data collection agent. It helps you to collect data. in the form of RV tools, or you can use our application discovery service, also known as ADS. Second agent is the wave planning agent. Uses the collected data and applies the algorithm and helps you to create wave plans and application grouping. And the third agent is the network conversion agent. Network conversion agent, from the name, it implies, it helps your migration of your on-premises network into the cloud. It automates it in the way that creates the infrastructure as a service for you to deploy in the form of a CloudFormation or CDK. And the last agent is the migration agent. Helps you to automate your migration end-to-end. It taps into our migration service, application migration service, also known as MGN. Additional capability is the human in the loop factor. For migration being long running, we do need human intervention to make sure all the approvals, validation, migration selection path, as well as the error correction is being done. Human in the loop factor is important to make sure that AI agent is not having any errors or hallucinates. Here comes the AWS Transform in an effect. We developed designed AWS Transform to help our customer to overcome these challenges. AWS Transform has three main use cases. These three main use cases went on public preview last year at re:Invent, and it went GA this year, 15th of May. It was previously known as Amazon Q Developer Transform, and it's got renamed when it went to GA this year as AWS Transform Family, and it is available for our customers to use at no additional cost. The use case we talked about, one of them is the migration use case. Now we're going to delve into migration use case in further. In order to help customers, VMware customers, to migrate their workloads to AWS, we started looking at what VMware stack looks like. So we can help them to translate and learn the ways that they can migrate into EC2. If you look at for VMware admins, it is a learning curve for them to understand those translation. For example, if you look at the VMware stack, networking on premises would map to AWS Virtual Private Cloud, our subnets, our security groups, etc. We help them to map the technology, what they can use in the cloud. This usually brings some kind of manual effort and some challenges along the way. To overcome these challenges, many of our customers are using different phases. They start with assessing what they have on premises. And then they do planning sessions that could be weeks or months long of planning sessions. And then they execute and migrate those workloads. And they have to rinse and repeat this in the same manner for every application on premises. It's a labor intensive, requires cloud skills, as well as due to being manual effort required, it is error prone. requires many of the teams to get together and collaborate, creates collaboration bottlenecks. In the last 2 decades, AWS developed many purpose-built AWS migration tools to automate your migration from on-premises to AWS. These tools are AWS native, our partner-developed tools, also ProServe developed tools. These purpose-built tools usually working in different edge phases you can see on the screen. In the assess phase, we have tools to help you to do your assessment. Mobilize phase, we help you to do your way planning. And now we have tools to help you to automate your migration. What we've seen is these tools usually don't share context. They work in isolations. And stitching those tools together falls under the customer's responsibility. Our customers has been asking us one unified tool to help them to do this transformation seamlessly end-to-end for each phases. Hence, with the advancement of generative AI technology with AWS Transform, we're happy to present you a new unified web-based tool to accelerate your migration journey. With said that, I'm going to hand over to my colleague Shang. He's going to walk you through a demo.
Thank you, Sinead. Now let's take a look of a real VMware migration example using AWS Transform. As Sinead mentioned, AWS Transform includes 4 agentic AI agents to help you along the VMware migration journey, and I'm going to walk you through each one of them. So the first agent we're going to take a look is the data ingestion agent. This agent captures your on-prem VMware inventory using RV tools or Application Discovery Service, ADS, which is essential for AWS Transform to perform automatic application discovery and migration way planning. Now, before I go ahead and play the demo, please keep in mind all of this was recorded a few weeks ago when the product was still on the preview. And as Sinead mentioned, since GA, we rebranded the service to AWS Transform, so the UI might look slightly different now. So this is the AWS Transform workspace. Because it's based on LLM, so you can simply ask it to create a VMware migration job using natural language. And here, first thing we need to do is to connect AWS Transform to your source AWS account for the workload discovery. This is done through a single-click approve process. Once it's approved, you can reuse the same connector for other migration jobs within the same workspace. And now AWS Transform is going to tap into the migration hub within your source account to start collecting, discover the VM inventory information. For application discovery, we recommend using either ADS agent or the agentless collector. So this is because ADS captures your on-prem network connection data as well as the TCP flow information, which is important for AWS Transform to perform automatic application discovery and generate the migration waves. You can also upload RV tools here, but keep in mind that's just a snapshot of a basic VM inventory, so you won't be getting the automatic application discovery from just using the RV tools. Now in this example, I've already set up an ADS collector in my demo VMware environment. As you can see, it's a single virtual appliance, so it's easy to deploy and set up. And on the left, I've got 2 sets of demo applications across 4 virtual machines. It's a mixture of Linux, PHP, MySQL, and Windows, .NET, and SQL Server. So it's a good representation of your typical enterprise workloads. And within the ADS console, we can see it's already connected back to the Migrations Hub's home region within my source account. And all I have to do is just to supply the vCenter URL and credentials. It's going to start collecting VM inventory from vCenter. I also need to set up the network data collection. And this is done through industry standard protocols such as VNRM or SMPv3. So there's nothing proprietary here. Now coming to the migration hub within my source account, I can verify the collector status. And within a few minutes, I can see the collector already started populating discovered workload information here. There's also a built-in network visualizer to help you drill down into certain workloads to verify the discovered network connection data. Again, this is very important for mapping out the application dependencies, so we can prepare the migration waves. So now that we have the discovered data, the next step is to utilize such data to create application groups and migration waves. And this is usually a time-consuming and a very challenging task, and it requires identified application dependencies. And previously, this was entirely a manual process. Now, with the discovered network connection data, we can use AWS Transform to identify the application dependencies. It will automatically group servers into application groups and create optimized migration waves. Let's take a look. So here you can see AWS Transform gives me a quick overview of the total discovered data. I can see how many servers are ready to be grouped into applications and how many of them are still missing the network connection data. When I'm ready to proceed, AWS Transform is going to take all that data and generate a recommendation file for the migration waves. I can download the file, take a look. And in this example, you can see AWS Transform has successfully identified the 2 applications, and it also placed the 4 workloads into their respective application groups and migration waves. Notice there are also a few workloads at the bottom. It's outside of the migration scope, so I can simply delete them from the file. So again, this is the human in the loop aspect, as Sinead mentioned earlier. Now I just need to upload the file back to AWS Transform to finalize the migration wave planning. So the next stage is to prepare AWS networking. This is perhaps one of the most challenging and labor-intensive tasks during the entire migration process. It requires translating your existing VMware network configuration into the equivalent AWS network architecture. And this is exactly where this agent can help. The network conversion and deployment agent will take the RV tools, or optionally your VMware NSX export if you're running that today, and it will automatically convert your on-prem VMware network configuration into the equivalent AWS native resources, such as VPCs, subnets, route tables, and security groups. So to begin, I just need to connect AWS Transform to my target account, where the VM will be migrated into. And now that I need to supply the RV tools, or optionally the VMware NSX export if you're running NSX today, AWS Transform will let you migrate your workloads either into your existing VPCs, or it will help you to create new VPCs using different topologies like hub and spoke or isolated. The difference here is that with hub and spoke, AWS Transform will create additional 3 VPCs, so that's inbound, outbound, and inspection VPCs. That's really helpful if you are planning to deploy a centralized security inspection model using AWS Network Firewall or the third-party firewalls. So in this case, based on my current on-prem VMware setup, AWS Transform has generated a workload VPC for the migration, and it has automatically summarized the two /24 on-prem subnets into a single /23 CIDR block to help me conserve IP addresses. And over there, I can download the CloudFormation template for all the network resources AWS Transform generated. I can review it, update if required. But in this case, I'm just going to let AWS Transform to push out the config for me. So within about 10-20 minutes, as you can see, AWS Transform has successfully deployed all the VPCs for me, including the workload VPC and all the 3 infrastructure VPC, along with a bunch of subnets, route tables, internet gateways, NAT gateways. And what's more impressive here is AWS Transform has also deployed a transit gateway for me, and it has automatically attached all the VPCs to the transit gateway. So from a connectivity perspective, I'm all ready to go for the migration. So this is just to give you a little bit of idea, right? So this is the hub and spoke topology that AWS Transform just deployed for me. It is based on our centralized network inspection reference architecture. The idea here is to help those new AWS customers to accelerate their cloud onboarding process. So you get a production-ready network within just minutes for the migration, whereas previously it might take days or weeks. But again, as I mentioned before, AWS Transform will give you a separate option to migrate workloads into your existing VPCs if you already have established AWS footprint. And finally, we have the migration orchestration agent. This agent interacts closely with Application Migration Service, or MGN, within your target account to orchestrate the entire migration workflow. It takes the VM inventory, the application groups, the migration waves, and the network and security configuration we just finalized. It then generates a comprehensive migration plan, which is an artifact that can be used by MGN to execute the final migrations. So to kick off the next phase, we just need to connect AWS Transform to MGN within your target account. And now, as you can see on the left, AWS Transform has already updated the plan with the 2 migration waves. And for each wave, I can specify the performance metrics for right-sizing my EC2 instances. And you can also specify the instance tendency based on your own licensing or compliance requirements. And once that's done, AWS Transform is going to take all that input and then generate a final migration plan. Here, again, you can download the plan, review it, update it if required, and after that, the plan gets automatically imported into MGN, including all the workload information as defined in the application groups and the migration waves, as well as the target network security configuration and your EC2 sizing settings. So now, pretty much all I left to do is to install the data replication agent onto my source virtual machines. There's a few options to deploy that MGN agent, but here I'm just going to choose to deploy it on my own. And after the agent has been deployed, you can just follow the steps to start replicating workloads into AWS, and then schedule a maintenance window to run your migration testing and perform the final cutover, because the migration plan is already preloaded into MGN. AWS Transform also gives you a built-in dashboard to help you track the entire migration progress. As you can see here, I've already finished the migration for the 4 workloads across the 2 waves. The migration status is synchronized back to MGN in real time. And there's the 4 EC2 instances that have been successfully migrated to AWS. What I just showed you is a very small VMware migration example using AWS Transform. But we've also done internal benchmarking testing with our own migration specialist team, who have been doing this for over the last decade. And to give you a little bit idea, for around 500 VMs, the team was able to manually produce a migration wave plan about 2 weeks. But they were able to cut down the time to just 15 minutes to achieve the same result by using AWS Transform. And similar result goes to network conversion and deployment. They were able to cut down the time from 2 weeks to just 1 hour. So really, to summarize, the key benefits of this product is fast time to value. So those VMware projects, migration projects, usually take months or years, can now be delivered within a fraction of time. It also increased the productivity of your migration and the modernization team. And ultimately, by moving into Amazon EC2, you get the cost of saving both from removing VMware licensing as well as improving operational efficiency by leveraging the cloud native capabilities. With that, I want to thank you again for attending our session today. Sinead and myself will be around AWS booth. There's VMware migration stand over there. We'd love to hear your VMware migration stories and perhaps help you with any questions you might have. And please complete the survey after this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.